Hello everybody. I know I've shown this before. This is my basement stairwell pantry. I put these shelves in here and I have all kinds of things here. So I wanted to do another cooking from the pantry video, and as you can see I've got a lot of stuff here, and this is only one of my pantries. And I also cleaned this up. I ended up putting all my cleaning stuff here, and then I did this closet too, and I put in all my kitchen appliances. Well, not all of them, but I moved them up here because they were in the basement. I've got my air fryer, my bread machine, my little Instapot, my dehydrator, things I use all the time. And then I have some more cleaning stuff here. So I still want to purge some of this stuff back here, all my candles and stuff. I have way too much. Uh-oh, the dogs just ran in the basement. And there they are. Well, they're out down there. This guy, he doesn't go down the basement stairs. He doesn't like it. Anyway, I wanted to do another cooking from my pantry. And since I have a lot of different kinds of oatmeal in here, I have quick oats, and I have, what else do I have? Oh, I have steel cut oats and old-fashioned oatmeal, all kinds of stuff. So what I want to do is I want to make some plant-based sausages. So I think I'm going to use a little nutritional yeast, a little TVP, which is textured vegetable protein, some of this mushroom seasoning, which I get from Amazon, and apparently it replaces MSG. It has a similar flavor boosting, so I get that from Amazon. It's really tasty. And some mushroom powder I'm going to put in there, and I'll see what else I can find, because I'm going to clean out the fridge too. Here they come. So I'm going to look through my fridge. I already found an onion that I had in there for a while. And I found this apple. It's all shriveled up. I'm going to use that, so I'll make an apple sage sausage. But pretty much my fridge, I know it looks like it's packed, but it doesn't have a whole lot of leftovers in it right now. But it is neat. I've got more shriveled up apples. I think I'm going to try and make an apple cake out of it. And I've got my celery that I'm going to do my celery thing on that I posted the other video about. Down here, I still have some cabbage that I think I'm going to shred and make some coleslaw with. I also have a lot of fermented veggies in there that maybe I'll put in the coleslaw. So anyway, but right now I want to use up the oatmeal. And this is my fridge. And a lot of these bins are almost empty. I put everything in bins because this refrigerator is really deep and everything tends to get lost at the back of the fridge. So I did this a few months ago. I think I did a video on it, and it's been working out really great with all the different bins that I have in here, and I've really managed to keep it organized. So anyway, I digress. I'm going back to my cooking. So I have some long grain white rice that I'm going to use, and I'm going to make a cup of this with 2 cups of water. And then I have this onion that I had, and I chopped it up. I'm going to put that in, and this is a little microwave rice cooker that I use all the time. Takes about 12 minutes for the rice to get done, and I have a cup of rice, 2 cups of water. So in go the onions, and then I'm going to cook that for 12 minutes, and I'm going to put that in my sausages, and I also want to make a plant-based cheese that I need some rice for. But that's a different video. So I'll be back. Alright, so I have the leftover onion, I have the rice, I have 2 cups of water, and I'm going to put, half a teaspoon of garlic salt in there. I don't want to put too many flavorings in here because, like I said, I'm going to be using this to make cheese and a plant-based cheese and the veggie-based sausages. So anyway, I'm going to cook that up in my little microwave cooker, and I'll be back later when it's done to make the sausages. Okay, here I have chopped up my shriveled apple, and I've chopped it up fairly fine. I don't want any big chunks. I also had some celery leaves left over, and I chopped some of those up. Not too many because I don't want these to be bitter. So I'm not going to put parsley in. I'm going to just put this chopped up celery leaves in and the chopped up apple. And then I wanted to show this handy dandy thing to you too, because I'm going to put some walnuts in for extra protein. And these walnuts are just, you know, chunky walnuts. I mean, they're kind of ground, but not really. So I don't want them that chunky in my sausage. So I have this little handy dandy device, and I got this from Aldi's, but I'm sure you can get them at Amazon. It's a tiny chopper, and it was actually made for making salsa and avocado guacamole, and it works great. And it just, you have this little thing and you pull it, and I've discovered that it's wonderful for chopping up nuts. And as you can see, it's pretty fine. So that's about, a third to a half a cup of walnuts. I'm sorry, I really don't cook much using measurements. I just kind of eyeball everything and taste. If you want to learn to cook, you have to learn to taste your food, because just because I like something a certain way doesn't mean you're going to like it that way. So I'm going to start putting my ingredients in my bowl. This is my cupboard. And I'm going to start out with the walnuts, just so I can get some room here in my little tiny nook here. My kitchen isn't really that small, but the counter space is not right here in my kitchen. It doesn't work real well. So anyway, I'm going to put the apple in, and also this chopped up celery. And if you don't have celery, use parsley or whatever you like. You know, again, seasonings are the way you like it. If you don't like walnuts, use a different nut. I'm just doing it because I want the extra protein in there. And so I'm just going to give that a little stir. And then I'm going to put in about 2 cups of oatmeal. And I'm going to put in, maybe a cup of old-fashioned oats. They make a nice texture. And then I'm going to put in some, about another cup of quick oats. And I get all these containers, I save them from, nuts that I buy, or anything that comes in these plastic containers, pretzels, anything. I always save the containers. And then I like to make these little chalkboard labels. Just makes it a little nicer. So a couple cups of oatmeal if you have a lot of oatmeal and you want to use it up. You don't have to make sweet oatmeal. You can make a savory oatmeal. You can use it in making meatloaf, plant-based meatloaf. You can use oatmeal in making sausages, plant-based sausages. It's very versatile. You can use it in making vegan cheeses. That's why I like to cook plant-based and vegan, not just for the animals. That's my main reason. But it's so easy to keep your pantry stocked. You don't have to worry about not having any meat and it's, mix and match. You can pretty much make up any recipe you want. All right, I'm going to put some spices together and work a little more on this, and I'll be back. All right, before I forget what I have here, I want to go over my spices. So here, turn on the light. There we go. All right. Oh, why is that doing that? It's like a strobe light. There we go. Okay. So here I have 1 teaspoon of ground fennel, 1 teaspoon of sage, 1 teaspoon of rosemary, half a teaspoon of thyme, half a teaspoon of margarine, 1 teaspoon of paprika, and what is this? Oh, this is about 1.5 teaspoons of McCormick's Smokehouse Maple. I like this stuff. It's really good. So the Smokehouse Maple. So I have that. That's all going to go in there. And remember, for sausages have a lot of spices. And here I have 2 tablespoons of mushroom powder, and I make that myself out of dried mushrooms. You can use any kind of mushrooms. It's kind of expensive to buy, but if you dry your own mushrooms, and I have a video about drying mushrooms in your refrigerator, and then you just grind them up. You can make mushroom powder. It gives meat-free dishes a very umami taste, which is sort of a meaty taste. And this is 1 tablespoon of mushroom seasoning, and like I said, I get that from Amazon, and that's what it's called, mushroom seasoning. It's salty. And then I have here, I didn't have onion powder, but I did have ground up chives from the garden that I dried and ground up. So I have 1 teaspoon of that, and I have 1 teaspoon of garlic powder, and this is all going into my sausage mixture. And then I have some wet ingredients that I also need to add, but for now, this is all going in. And this is all going in. So that's quite a bit of seasoning, but with a dish like this, you can pretty much put any seasonings in there you want. If you want to make it an Italian sausage, you can put Italian seasoning, or whatever you like. This is what pantry cooking is all about. It's kind of flying by the seat of your pants and reinventing recipes, using your leftovers and zero waste or very little waste. This isn't about being cheap or poor man's thinking. This is about abundance and using the abundance that you have. So that's pretty much what this is all about. No waste. So anyway, I'm going to get my wet ingredients together. And then, and I wanted to put 1/4 cup of nutritional yeast in here. So 1/4 cup is 3 tablespoons. That'll add some B vitamins and also some other nutrients to my sausages. So, and this is just nutritional yeast. Bob's Red Mill puts it out. You know, you can get that in almost any grocery store now. And then I also want to put some flaxseed meal in here because this will act as a binder. And again, this will also add some more nutrition. So I'm going to put about a tablespoon of flax meal. And one other thing before I add my dry ingredient or my wet ingredients, I'm going to use some more chia seeds. And chia seeds, again, act as a binder because I'm not putting eggs in these. So I'm going to put a couple tablespoons of chia seeds, and they're very nutritious. So that goes in there. You don't have to put that stuff in. If you want to put eggs in, feel free to put eggs in. But I want to use up what I have right now, and I want to make this more of a vegetarian dish. But again, if you have a lot of eggs, if you have chickens, you can use eggs as your binder. But I'm going to use chia and flax meal. Alright, well, I'll be back in a few minutes after I get my wet ingredients done. Alright, I need to add my rice yet. This is half a cup. So half a cup of, this is just the plain white rice that I cooked earlier. So actually I think I'm going to add a little bit more. And that'll also act as a binder. So I'm going to add like 3/4 of a cup of the rice. And here I rehydrated about 3/4 of a cup of TVP, textured vegetable protein. And I put a little bit of the mushroom seasoning in there, not much, like half a teaspoon. So this will also add more protein. Excuse me. So I'm going to mix that up. And like I said, you don't have to add all these things to your oatmeal sausages. You can keep it as simple or as complicated as you want. But I have this stuff sitting around and I want to use it up. So that's what I'm going to do. Alright. So those are all those ingredients. Now, I also decided I want to add some whole fennel to it. So it's about a tablespoon of whole fennel, because a lot of sausages have whole fennel. If you don't like fennel, leave it out. This is a very forgiving recipe. It's very easy. I know I'm making this more complicated with putting all this stuff in, but since I don't eat meat, I need all the protein I can get. But if you wanted to make this just with oatmeal, you could do that. But all these different grains, it's all whole foods. Okay, so now I'm going to add about 1/4 of a cup of, you can either use tamari, I'm using soy sauce at the moment, and I'm going to use about 1/4 of a cup. And you want to taste your sausage mixture, make sure it's not too salty. But if you think about it, sausage is pretty salty. You know, it's like when you eat bacon. So another thing I'm going to put in is about a tablespoon of olive oil. You can put in more or less, or leave it out if you don't want oil. I think that was probably a couple tablespoons, but sausage is fatty, so that sort of gives you that fatty mouth feel. So, and I'm going to add just a little bit of apple cider vinegar, just to take away some of the funky taste that you sometimes get with plant-based meats. So it's just apple cider vinegar. And of course, you want some maple syrup. I don't like my sausage too sweet, so I'm going to add maybe, not quite a quarter of a cup. So about 2 tablespoons, I'd say. If you like it sweet, add as much as you want. And then, in lieu of Frank's hot sauce, if you like a little bit of heat to your sausage, I don't like much. I bought this spicy mango at, it was at Big Lots. It was $2.50, and I've had it for a while. And I'm going to put just a little bit of this in instead of Frank's. I love Frank's hot sauce. It's not too hot for me, but I don't use a lot of it. This has some heat to it, so I'm just going to put a little bit. So maybe a teaspoon. Or you can put cayenne pepper in, regular pepper, whatever you want. And I'm going to add some pepper too. Not much. But yeah, use your imagination when you're cooking. It's fun. So anyway, I'm going to mix this all in, and then I'm going to add a couple cups of water to this. I'll try 1 cup at a time. Because this is too dry the way it is, it won't hold together. And that's why I put in the chia seeds and the other flaxseed meal. And then I'm going to let this sit for a while in the refrigerator, just to marry the flavors and to get it to set up. So let me get some water. And I pretty much use filtered water for my cooking. So this is a 1/2 cup measure. So I'm going to start out with a cup, because I don't want it too wet. So there we go. There's that, and then I'm going to mix this up. And I'm going to give this a taste to see if it needs anything else, if it needs salt. And then you bake these in the oven when it's ready. But like I said, I'm going to stick this in the fridge for a while. This way the oatmeal will soak up the water and it'll become firmer. I don't like mushy plant-based meats. Sometimes with the veggie burgers, the black bean burgers and stuff, they're a little mushy on the inside. I don't care for that. So, I'm going to give this a taste and see if it needs anything else. No, it's really good. Really, really good. So if you're trying to cut back on your meat consumption, you want to cook from your pantry, here's an idea for you. And I will put all the ingredients down in the description box. I know that was a lot of stuff in there, but like I said, do what you want to do. All right, I'll be back after I bake these. All right, I'm back. Turn this light on. There we go. All right, I crumbled one of them up. I don't know if you can see that. And made sausage crumbles out of them. I'm just trying this out. So you could put this on pizza, on whatever. The taste is really good. So I tried doing that. Or you can also crumble it up and bake it. That would work all right. I tried frying one in a little bit of cooking spray oil, and that was tasty, but you have to cook it on really low so it cooks, so the inside cooks all the way through, because if you put it on too high a heat, the outside's going to get done and the inside isn't going to be done. So I'm going to bake these, and it's fairly firm. They hold together really beautifully. So I just use my handy dandy cookie scooper there and compress it and make it into whatever size patties you want. You could probably make these into sausage meatballs too if you wanted to. They're not real spicy. They have a real good flavor. They're very flavorful. I guess that's the best way I can describe them. But, you know, for a meat substitute, they're great. You don't want to make them too thick so that they finish cooking on the inside. Now, I did bake a batch already, and I baked them on 375 for 30 minutes on one side, and then I turned them over and I did them for 10 minutes. And 375, the taste is good, but the outside is a little too crunchy. So this batch I'm going to bake for half an hour on 350, and I think that'll give us the texture that we want. But, you know, like I said, they hold together beautifully. So I'm going to see how many I can get. I'm thinking I could probably get 6 here, but it makes a lot of sausages, and you can freeze these or, you know, cook them all up and freeze them so that you have them. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put them in little baggies with maybe 2 in each, so that if I want a quick breakfast, I can make a breakfast sandwich with it, or, you know, I can make pizza. I can put it on pizza, but I am going to bake them first before I freeze them. I have not tried freezing these in the raw state. I don't know what the apple would do, but, you know, if you make this recipe and you freeze them, let me know. Oh, I've got a little hummingbird out there. My hummingbird feeder is right outside my kitchen window. But the problem is the feeder isn't high enough, so I just see them kind of landing there, but I can't see them. So I have to put a bigger post in there so that I can see the little hummingbirds. We don't get a ton of them here. It's not like you folks in California, and you know, where you get a ton of them. But they come in, you know, now and then. And I've noticed that they like to feed around between 9 and 10, and then they come back again about 5 or 6. So it's almost 5 o'clock here, so I guess they're on a 2-meal schedule. But I make my own hummingbird food, and I just make it with, I'll do a 1/4 cup of sugar and 4 parts of water, and they seem to really like it. And no food coloring, because the food coloring isn't good for them. I just kind of put a couple of fake flowers there so that they can find the feeders, and then that's all I do. So, alright, you'll probably get 10, at least a dozen patties out of this, if not more, depending on the size you make. And you could even make these into meatballs and bake them and have them with pasta or rice, since they already have rice in them. But they really do hold together beautifully. So I'm going to pop these in the oven now at 350 for 30 minutes. And I'll see if they're not as crunchy, because you don't want them too crunchy, but you don't want them mushy either. So I'm going to wash my hands here, because they are a little sticky with the maple syrup, but I still have enough left over here for probably maybe 3 or 4 more patties. And if you hang on a second, I'll show you the patties that I made earlier at 375. So, I use my toaster oven for everything. It works great. And that way in the summer I don't have to heat things up, or the kitchen, you know, when it's up into the 80s and 90s. So anyway, these are the patties that I made earlier that I tried out. And as you can see, they're pretty crunchy. I left them in there a little too long, but I'm kind of experimenting with this. But they're still really tasty. I had a couple of them already. They'd hold up real well on a burger bun. And they really look like meat too. So this is what the inside looks like. So yeah, they're tasty. But like I said, at 375 for 30 minutes, they're a little bit too crunchy on the outside, but still tasty. So I'm going to taste one. Oops. Really, really good flavor. So, anyway, if you have a lot of oatmeal and you're sick of eating it as a cereal, you can eat it as a meat replacement, and it's tasty. And like I said, you make crumbles out of it too, and it's very nutritious because it has the nuts, it has the TVP, the oatmeal. So, that's all I have for you today. And like I said, I will post the recipe down below. And feel free to mix or match. Make it your own recipe. And that's all I have for today. So anyway, let me change the camera a little bit. So, anyway, I just want to say abundant blessings to you all. And I love you guys. And I'll see you in the next video. And if you like my content, please subscribe, tell your friends, and I'll see you guys next time. Mwah!